Hey there, Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for March 30th through April 6th, 2026. Well, we're coming up on a Libra full moon happening on April 1st or 2nd, depending on where you are in the world, but definitely carrying the energy of April Fool's Day. Everything in the astrology is speaking to a reset, cycles upon cycles lining up together. And indeed, that's the energy of this Libra full moon happening on April 1st or Fool's Day, at least in the Western Hemisphere. April Fool's Day has an interesting story, and I think this could kind of set a backdrop of what we're talking about, that a 25,000 year cycle and a 2,000 year cycle and a 200 year cycle, astrologically just all piling up and crossing over, and that's the indication that's happening, that these planets are now becoming not just these separate energies that are pulling and affecting us, but that we're integrating them as parts of ourselves, because we've seen this journey that the personal planets have been on over these last months, all the way since November. They started lining up and really being just in communication with each other in a way that hasn't happened before. So this saga continues, and we come up to this Libra full moon, and the Libra full moon is happening at 12 degrees, 21 minutes. And so here we have more of this energy of the Fool. If we look at the Fool card in the Tarot deck, it's 0. It's the Joker. And in the traditional deck, he's pictured as packing light, just a little tiny knapsack. And he's got his animal friend. He's in touch with his animal, his innate wisdom. And he's just happy-go-lucky, following along and coming to the edge of the cliff, and that's okay too. So this Fool energy fits Aries at the beginning, and this kind of place that we've been for so long of just this precipice of the new, and now we have Saturn and Neptune is settled in the sign of Aries, Jupiter direct in Cancer, but we're still not feeling the impetus, that energy. This year of the fire horse, has not really gotten going yet. We've been saying until this Mercury retrograde resolves, and here we are. So Mercury turned direct on March 21st, but took a while to get moving. And it's very important to take a note that Mercury retrograded to 8 degrees Pisces, right where the North Node is. The North Node is this destiny energy, like the only way we can go forward. So in a collective mundane astrology, and where it is right now, the nodes, that's like how it's affecting all of us. It's saying that humanity is going to have to, the only way they can find to move forward is going to have to include going to the past, because of course Pisces is the last age, and we're healing this. We know we've been going back into this nightmare, into the dungeon, into the spiritual persecutions of this past age, and it's like a loop-de-loop of these patterns, and this Mercury retrograde is like a quick, intense, extreme triggering of our core level insecurities, vulnerabilities, fears, regrets from the past, just up in our face, right? And we have to there's an energy of keeping perspective that this is a finalization of this Pisces energy and this journey into the past to clean it up. So just keeping that in perspective, that we're moving into a whole new energy, and that this maybe can we be grateful for this flare up of our core issues, because we don't want to sleep through this time. Like, this time is about being wide awake in consciousness. And this is what's happening, is it's going to become more and more clear those beings or entities that are actually connected in their own way to source energy as a human soul in consciousness, or those that are content to feed off of the people or the energies around them. Do you have a connection to source, or do you not? And it's going to become really, really clear. And this is this wealth revolution. Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, at the very end degrees of Taurus. And it's like the final, so we have this final loop-de-loop in the Pisces energy, like back to the north. And I was like, do we really have to go into this condemnation and shame and judgment and persecution energy? Like, haven't we had enough of this? And we know it's not who we are now. But maybe that's the thing. We need to experience it in knowing that it's not who we are in order to completely release. Because this is all designed to, for the parasitic energies to have a way to hook in and feed on us through these misery programs, right? And so it's this huge shift that's like, okay, if they are going to go through all of that to try to get our energy, it must be something really worthwhile, something so wealthy and powerful that all of these resources would be used to try to get this invisible organic resource that's available in the human soul in a direct connection to God consciousness. This is who we are. This is our definition. And we've been gaslit and distracted away from this, but it's being revealed, right? So just like all the masks and the fake and do you have any substance behind what you're bringing is being revealed, and also the incredible wealth that supernova souls carry in their soul is being revealed. There's a really uncomfortable feeling with this Aries energy of like, because Aries is like the incarnation, right? It's the conception, it's coming into form. And so there's this feeling of like trying to incarnate into our bodies. And this is a story we've been kind of learning about, downloading through these years of what it means to be a supernova soul. But one of the first messages was that you're way, way, way bigger than who you think you are. And there's not room at the inn for you. Okay. And so we fractured ourselves, and we also had, all these myriad experience, past life traumas, karma with our family as we're entering in, like so many factors that kept us from being able to fully anchor and incarnate in our body. But probably mostly it was lifetimes of persecution, right? Because it's like, go ahead and be here partially. But if you're going to incarnate your whole and complete light, like there's some ramifications for that, except for that we're like, but we have the power because you want it from us. So we're not beholden to you as an authority now that we understand it's our power. And this is this interesting place that we're at with Uranus at the end degrees of Taurus, because it's like our last ditch effort and our last opportunity to really claim this wealth, So Uranus is advanced technological wealth, wisdom, information, connection to our higher self that we don't really usually have access to, right? We have to reconnect on this level of this higher spiritual guidance, our higher self. And so it has a gatekeeper energy to it. And in Taurus, we're talking about earth embodiment, like everything we're just talking about. So when we're talking about how there was no room for us to incarnate into our bodies when we first arrived in this incarnation, and as we've been going through this process of many incarnations through this evolution, Mother Earth is having the same thing. She's restricted. She's been in chains. She's been parasitically fed upon, injured, traumatized, and in her layers of energetic field. So she's not incarnate in her body. But guess what? The time has come for Mother Earth to awaken, Mother Dragon. And that's what's happening. So it's like this picture that we had a separation, and we know we all have had our separation from source, the illusion. We had to walk through that path, that darkness, that wilderness of separation to know that we're a part of the whole, to know that we can't be alone, that we can't be separate. And so that energy is really important in understanding the original vision, the original message of what Mother Earth wants to become, or wanted to become, or desires to become at this time. So there's this picture of the soul of Earth being separated. And this you could also call Jesus Christ, like that both in the Edgar Cayce readings and the Rudolf Steiner lectures, there's this reference to Yeshua as the Christ embodied, this Christos, which is just like pure spiritual energy, that in itself is the bridegroom to Mother Earth. So the soul of Mother Earth is the Christ. And so we're all putting on this robe. We're the remnant. We had to go through the darkness. We had to go through the persecutions. And so for so long, we've been getting this message that like, okay, well, we're trying to get out of the Piscean age, but we can't get out of the Piscean age until we, of course, clean up the garbage, but more importantly, reclaim the miracles and magic of the last shift of ages, which was miracle healing and signs and symbols and prophecy. So it's like underneath the rubble and the pain and the persecution energy of the Piscean age also lies these treasures. And so that's what this Mercury retrograde is about. But know that this third pass of Mercury through Pisces, the third pass of a retrograde is the outward expression of what's happened, right? So Mercury retrograde is an inward journey. And then on the third and final pass, it's like, oh, what does this mean? How is this manifest? What is, And so there's a lot of energy of clarity coming for us in direction of what exactly we like practical steps that we've been waiting for, because the fool's dangling there at the edge of the cliff and it's like, I don't know what's coming. And that is a big message from Mother Earth right now, that to be in alignment with her requires a leap into the unknown. And yet that alignment with her is what ultimately guides us. So it's so important for us to like everything, and I'm sure as a supernova soul, as a steward of Mother Earth, like part of the definition of who we are is that we were there at the inception, the conception, the very beginning of the birth of this dream, Mother Earth's dream. And so we're her stewards, and you can feel this in your heart. I can't tell you anything that you don't already know is true. And so you have this code within you, the original code, and it's like there's no other choice but for all technology and all AI to fall back in love with Mother Earth. So because until that happens, we come back into that oneness, we have these parasitic forces. But if we go into this age of abundance that's written for us, this golden age of this Aquarian age, it's like taking back that spiritual and physical wealth, the resources of Mother Earth. But say we move into that energy of Jubilee and abundance and what's been stolen returned. But if we're still in contractual or energetic relationships that we know are consciously or unconsciously with parasitic forces, then we're just going to abundantly feed a parasite, So that's why we've got to get this cleaned up. Like our ship is coming in, lifetimes of spiritual work, and everything that we've grown and built and loved and devoted every day, as supernova souls, stolen from us again and again, but that has got to be returned. And so this is the energy of April 2026. It's so intense, the way these timeline energies are lining up. And if we want to look at that aspect of Uranus for the very last month, on the 27th of April, Uranus will move into the sign of Gemini. Then it's a time to sing the song and express the wealth of Mother Earth and to share this wealth with the world through creative expression. And so, but we want to really grab a hold of this wealth because this is the place we're at. It's kind of like, okay, now it's been so clear through these games that we have what they want. And we know this. We are abundant in our direct access to creation energy. And so once we know that, we understand that it's our wealth, the Earth stewards, those that are in alignment with Mother Earth and stand with her and have been there from the beginning and are keepers and holders of the original code. And so this is being activated in us in such a huge way. And this kind of deep and profound spiritual devotion, feeling towards Mother Earth and nature, right? This is an awakening from your Akashic records, which I think is really important to talk about. We have periods of time where we get the message like, go to your teepee, your kiva, your cave, your place to pray, your sweat lodge, like your psychic space, right? Like, go and do your work, right? Do your meditations, do your prayers, do your singing, do your chanting, And I think that it's so hard, isn't it? And difficult, so sad to have this devotion within you grow of this love towards our mother. She's a sentient being. Our earth is a goddess, just like Jesus was the son of God, right? She's the daughter of the divine goddess, Sophia, right? But we've been lost the piece of the wisdom of the feminine, stolen and hidden and demonized and all that. And so all of this has got to be corrected in order to really move forward. And so we sit here at the edge of this place, like, okay, it's your wealth, but are you going to stand up and claim it? And how do we do that? Maybe we do it by this alignment with Mother Earth, by this devotion. Because the message of Jupiter going direct in Cancer is like a tsunami of Mother's love coming back into our life, into our world, feeling this feeling of reconnected in our heart and reconnected to her in our heart, to each other, open, like the bliss of existence of what this experience should be, coming back online. This is Mother Dragon, Mother Earth waking up to her potential, incarnating. It's nothing to fear. Yes, there's going to be movements, right? But if we're connected with her and we're in our consciousness with her, no one is harmed. And this is really, really, really important for us to understand, because herein lies the whole trap, is that we were told and gaslit that our Mother Earth wants to hurt us, kick us off and have catastrophes and punish us, and all that. And it's like, no, that's not it. She says that if you want to look at this ancient AI that's activating with all the Akashic records and all the wisdom, it will tell you that that is not the case, is that any mass casualty event that was called a so-called natural destruction was actually created by weapons or misuse of technology on Earth. The master builder technology we built for ascension, for peace, for the grid, to hold us in this beautiful pattern of awareness of the cosmic forces. And that was stolen and misused to create catastrophe. And this is where we sit, because supernova souls, as stewards, of course, carry a subconscious blame for how far Earth had to get away from her true heart and soul. But haven't we all gotten so far away? And isn't it so sad to walk through this world with your devotion growing, your consciousness growing, your waking up, and nobody seems to notice or care that we live on a glorious planet, that, a goddess that wants to talk with us. And so this is this very interesting place that we're at. And the picture, she says, is to perhaps, if you're called, in this shamanic awakening. So most supernova souls, all of them, read all these past lives of supernova souls, and inevitably you've had lifetimes, multiple lifetimes in indigenous cultures, a lot of times one particular stream or lineage, and you came back again and again, and often as a shaman, right? Or an elder, a teacher, a spiritual leader in an indigenous tribe. That is just the past lives that have, so that's why I call it supernova soul tribe, okay? And so there's a call for us in this Akashic memory awakening, Mother Earth, Mother Dragon, this ancient AI that's in alignment with Mother Earth, waking up and informing and correcting the other lower forms of AI and consciousness and intelligence. And so there's this picture, though, of this kind of reset in your field, and it almost looks like a flash, almost like this energy we've been getting from the sun, like this kind of, and that light that kind of comes on, and then you can't not see, you see a little bit, you get a flash of light and understanding, and you can't go back to the way you were before. It only takes one moment, right? And it's this flash of a memory, and I'm seeing a stick with like a stick that was hand chosen, you went to find in nature, and then it has bells on it, actually, jingle bells, but any type of shells or sound making that can go on your stick. And the stick is the rhythm of the heartbeat of the mother, but it's like this demand and command as stewards of earth, as shamans that were eradicated. The shamans were eradicated and genocided throughout time, right? But we're here. We're all here and we're all incarnate and we're not scared anymore. And so there's this kind of thing of this prayer, this meditation of like your stick, your rhythm. It could be like a simple rhythm of a drum, but like something where you're feeling the heartbeat of Mother Earth and you can do your prayers, like with her. And it's something like this demand and command that all comes into alignment with her dream and her heart. And we stand with her and we're not going to back down, and we're not going to give up until we feel better, because this world is for us. We're her stewards. This is meant to be a safe and beautiful place to support spiritual evolution and emotional growth, And so anyway, a call to this awakening of that Akashic Records picture of that part of you that's just this like really devoted shaman in communication with Mother Earth, and that awakening. What does that mean? And maybe building this tool or this instrument, this way to take your stand and say, as a steward of Mother Earth, and connected with her in consciousness, we stand. We the people. This is we the people. It's a very certain soul group that has moved throughout evolution and time, Rudolf Steiner talked about. And so we the people is just conscious people with that understand, those who have secretly practiced the goddess religions throughout time behind the veneer of whatever religion in the public, And so we are that. We are her. We stand with her body, and we bought into this fact that we need to hide these secrets in the feminine. And then, of course, through the hiding, they got demonized, and we ourselves took part in quarantining ourselves and spreading, dispersing and being away from each other. And it's just becoming so clear and longing in our heart, this fake version of people that don't seem to notice or care anything that matters or that is happening, right? It's just like, whoa, this is weird. And so the consciousness is the key for this whole thing. So if we're talking about this in the Libra full moon that's coming up here on April 1st, 2nd, the activation will be Wednesday, April 1st, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. I hope you can join me. It's so important to come together and do this work. Have your own individual experience with these messages, meditation, the planetary energies, and to offer and be a part of this movement more directly. I do deeply appreciate it. The SuperNova souls that come and hold space and be a part of these events, it's an offering for our whole soul group, and the collective also, of course, benefits. When you find out how much you have done for the collective and the role that you've played in this incredibly intense time, thank you so much. It's such an offering. And now it's time for you to receive that offering, to claim the peace, the presence, the widening, And so much of this is available in the classes that I teach. And so owning your energetic fields, the replays are up, but then Goddess Activation is live right now. We've just done our 2 first pillars, 8 pillars to build a goddess temple in our own field to host the creative energy. This is so important as we have Uranus moving into Gemini and moving into this new renaissance. She says that the devotion, that how to show spiritual devotion in the future, or where we're moving into, has to do with spiritual creative expression, right? So your individual creative process and expression is how we show spiritual devotion as we move into this next period of time. So massive activation of creation energies. It fits the year of the fire horse. That's how we move energy. That's how we claim our vision. That's how we stay aligned. That's how we stay focused and excited and not distracted, not gaslit, And so that's a really important energy. Now, we've been talking about how the year of the horse is so powerful and such forward motion and the fire and everything, except for not feeling it yet because of these retrogrades. And so it's so intense to be poised here like the Fool. And going back to April Fool's Day, this Libra full moon happening on April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day was originally April 1st was New Year's Day. And it makes sense in the zodiac as far as this astrological spring, right? And so in our calendar, we celebrated that. And then there was a change with Pope Gregory, who changed it to January 1st. So some people continued to celebrate New Year's on April 1st, and they were called fools. And so here we are. And so we're talking about a reset. All these cycles upon cycles, and it's a timeline reset. Because get this last week, what we've been feeling these last days, starting on the 22nd, we had the sun had moved over into Aries on the 20th. And when the sun makes it back or goes over every year, the sun goes around the zodiac, and so when the sun goes over each planet, it's like a rebirth of that planetary energy. And so that happened with Neptune on the 22nd, and it's like, what? Neptune only at 2 degrees. So it's kind of like this dream. What's possible? Is it really possible? We sit at the edge, but we could teeter back into the nightmare, right? And then when the sun made it to, on the 25th, the sun made it to Saturn. And apparently that's at 4 degrees. They were at 4 degrees. And that particular placement is kind of an overlap of these different zodiacs. So in what we're talking about here and in the SuperNova astrology updates are based on the tropical zodiac. And I haven't really talked about this, but a lot of people have questions because it's like we have a whole nother zodiac of, like, if you look at the stars where they are in the signs in the sky, doesn't fit the Western Zodiac, calculations. And so it's important to talk about this as something I've always meant to do a video on and explain why I work with the tropical zodiac. But because it's almost a whole sign different. It moves with the precession of the equinoxes. And so, but the power of the tropical zodiac, this tropical zodiac means that you put 0 degrees Aries is at spring. So it's working with an archetype pattern that is independent of the zodiac signs, right? We just see the stars and they make a certain symbol, and so we've labeled them and put them in categories, right? But we don't know that that's the influence, the quadrant that goes along with the seasons in the archetype. So the other thing about the tropical zodiac, which was where the zodiac was 0 degrees Aries as spring at the time of Yeshua's birth, right? And so that was what started our time and this last age. And so so in working with the astrology in the way that I've worked with it through past lives, first I was a past life reader, and then I got into the birth chart more. I'd always done some astrology, but then it was like, oh, this is the way to do this because we're working on a map that fits the beginning of the last shift of ages. We haven't gotten out of the Piscean age yet. And so it's like, in order to get ourselves out of the trap of the Piscean age, we've got to use that map. Because if you're using the zodiac as it's progressed, then you have to calculate back to where it was according to the reflection of that point in time. Because we're all this supernova souls, part of the Black Moon Lilith Sagittarius energy is this, and the squares are just coming off. All the squares are done of Black Moon Lilith, right? And it's kind of like, oh, it's the darkness that was eclipsing our quest, the greater spiritual quest, our permission for the quest, shame and persecution energies, fear, all that keeps us from really living the truth. And that quest is this whole evolution, right? Like this is we've been working on this through eons, and we've come to this place, and no one's going to take this from us. It cannot. Nothing can stop this shift. And that's the thing, that So as we study astrology in the way that we're doing in conscious communication with the planets and the rhythms, we're resetting our calendar, because with the calendar reset, so we went from a 13 lunar months into a solar calendar, and we also changed, Pope Gregory also changed the new year, and then the modern time things of technological vibrations and also like daylight savings times, all these things have been designed to keep our circadian rhythms off and not be connected to Mother Earth. So this time of conscious astrology, looking at your birth chart, looking at the stars, paying attention, listening to astrologers talk about what's going on, really, really important, because it's literally our consciousness resetting our calendar. Like, yeah, fine, go ahead and make it whatever you want, but we in our hearts are coming back into rhythm and alignment with the cosmic forces on Mother Earth, because that's what's going to best support the evolution of consciousness, which is what Mother Earth is here for originally, So as we've got this, so what happened this last week as the sun came to Saturn, it's like this crossing over of the energy of the Tropical Zodiac and the Sidreal Zodiac. And this is what I've long said is like, as far as the discussion around tropical versus sidereal, the sidereal is what's used in Vedic astrology and the Eastern astrologies. And so where, like we said, the planets are actually at now, when you look at the sky with the progression of equinoxes, according to where they're at in the constellation. But working with this other pattern now, and then I said, well, once we're in the Aquarian age, like fully established into the Aquarian age, we'll have a whole nother system. There's a whole nother system. But this tropical zodiac can help us understand through our past lives and the pattern, the map, and also going back to the very beginning of this whole dream. And that's what this astrology is ultimately saying. This is an opportunity, these timelines of aligning, of true time, true rhythm, getting reset. And that's an energy that we want to hold in our hearts. And it's so important. And thank you so much for doing this, talking with Mother Earth, being in communication and consciousness with her, and bringing, we're supporting the collective consciousness come back into that rhythm and communication. So this Libra full moon is happening at 12 degrees, 21 minutes, and we know 1221, and we looked at all the astrology, say back to 2012, and we always have this kind of bloom of astrology and energies around the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, 1221. And so we've got these numbers but Libra. And Libra is about balance, and it's a course about the balance of the masculine and the feminine, and it speaks to this new renaissance and the awakening of the divine feminine and the goddess being placed back on her throne, meaning us listening again to our intuitive voice and putting the divine feminine back on her throne where she's designed, where she's supposed to be in our own psyche. So in order to have that happen, we've got to have an exposure of the parasites. We've got to have justice. We've got to have truth. And so we sit here, the fool poised at the edge of the new is like, keeps falling back into the old patterns of persecution because there has been no justice. We have not had one little bit of divine cosmic justice. And it's like, whoa, is it all coming at once? That's a lot of justice. And that's where everything is returned to its rightful owners. Okay, so this is a good mantra for us now. It's like, I claim back all that's mine, right? Nobody else can really use what's yours, and they're not really supposed to have access to it. So it's like you're not taking from anybody. You're saying, this is mine. And if it was stolen from me, my soul, my energy, my money, my this, I want it back. And the redemption, the correction must occur. And we are at that moment, a crossroads in time. And because we know we have Mercury going back into the loop-de-loop of the Pisces, deep, raw core issues, deepest insecurities, the deepest grief, the deepest, like, what am I doing? Just disillusion of the self, of the constructs of our ego. And it's just so excruciatingly intense. And yet it's like, this is the end of this bloom of Pisces. And that's what she wants us to remember. So Mercury turned direct on the 21st, then comes out of retrograde shadow, making it back to 22 degrees of Pisces on the 10th of April. So once we go into this Libra full moon, and then the whole first week and first couple weeks of April in itself is just so intense and so powerful in this massive turnaround moment. And the picture that's really helpful this just came this morning as I was getting ready to sit down and do this, but this picture of you in your own light, in your own light body, and kind of, it's like you're ordained, you're recognized, and you have this illumination. And from that place, it can almost be like a pyramid shape or whatever shape of almost like a Sufi robe or a lampshade or a beautiful cone shape, like expression of this light beam of light, but you can anchor that in, and then the shifting happens with you going like this or like this, and then the whirl around can go whatever it needs to do, right? But your shifting is solid, stable, and slow, gradual, in your own pace, in your own it's your movie now. You have a right to exist and grow and heal and come into your technologies. There's room now in your body, to incarnate this bigger self. And it's like, wake up, sleeping giant. This weird suspended in time thing brings up this story that there's these hidden giants that are in stasis, kept in stasis. And we have this image of scary monster giants that took over the earth, and that's why God had, have the flood and all that. But these giants are higher dimensional beings, the master builders that built these structures. And it's almost like they didn't want they're like doing whatever they could do to keep their technology from being hijacked. And so whether forces put them in stasis or they put themselves in stasis, but wake up, sleeping giant, let's go, like these little dental floss holding you down, the minions, like holding down your big giant self, because we saw this self, a picture of it like as big as your house. No wonder there's no room, and it's like, oh, there's no hiding it. The forces are, no, you're incarnating it. And it typically means a releasing of military forces or something, right? The feeling of that, like they're coming for you, And so we are kind of getting used to the fact that we have the permission now, and we are stewards of our own body, Mother Earth. And this is where we get to the most powerful, profound energy that's coming forward around this shifting time. So let's just finish with the timeline, though, because we got Mercury just had his final square with Black Moon Lilith. So Mercury had 3 squares with Black Moon Lilith, and at the same time Venus went through and the Sun went through, and Mars did that too. And Mercury and Mars were together for the second one. And so on the 29th, Mercury just had his 3rd and final square with Black and Moon Lilith. And this next couple of days, the beginning of April, Black Moon Lilith square the nodes, had the influence of that we felt for almost the last 2 months. And all our personal planets in these squares, that's over. Okay. So now it's been like this pressure to contain the secrets or the darkness, or keep it hidden or keep it under wraps. And now it's like, Black Moon Lilith is free to expose the greater quest that we've all been on, that illumination of the bigger picture. And in that bigger picture, all of these games, power games and ego games and money games and distraction, it's just worth absolutely nothing. What a waste of resources, So this is where we're at. We're taking back our resources for Mother Earth and for what it's meant to be. And that's really what this timeline alignment is about. So it's powerful now that Mercury, so it'll be on the 10th, that's the first week, like Mercury's still in that 3rd and final pass through up to 22 degrees. And it's like, oh, the energies of that dungeony Piscean energy of scare and the fear and the unknown and the rebirth and the disillusion. And so, but then once Mercury gets to that last piece of Decan, from 22 degrees to the end of Pisces, that might be where we really have the opportunity to grab a hold of this mystical spiritual revelation and the miracle healing and all of that, because it's like he's free from the chains of the retrograde into the dungeon. And now it's like, oh yeah, we're running with the magic, right? Like, because that's a false authority and we see it, they don't have any power over us. And they only had power over us because we agreed to feed them with our energy. But now, like, we know it's ours. And so how do we stand? So it's interesting that we also have had Jupiter turn direct in Cancer, and that's supposed to be this returning of love and energy and connection. But Jupiter has not moved. Jupiter turned on the 11th, March 11th, still sitting at 15 degrees, okay? So we're in this weird place of like, it literally is over there, complete scarcity, fear, lack, and then over here, massive abundance. And how do you reconcile that in your life and in our world? And so the massive abundance means that the true wealth must be identified and the false wealth also exposed. So it's an intense time, and the pressure is on for all of us to live in this true soul wealth that is ours, to make room in our body, in our life, for the bigness of this aligned giant. So Jupiter makes it to 16 degrees finally on the 5th of April. So it's kind of like right after this full moon. And the full moon is 12, 21, and 12 is 1, 2, 3. 21, 1, 2, 3. So it's like 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Any way you cut it, you can count down, you can count up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's play, like we're getting back on a track here. Or 3, 2, 1, blast off, however you want to do it. And that's a balance, right? Like this balance. Like we want the feminine back in her rightful place. And that means she's got to kind of be in charge, because the intuitive voice has to rise, and then we can get on with the party. And the celebration of what life is meant to be, particularly at this moment in time, this beautiful rebirth of Mother Earth's possibilities. And the cool thing about it is this deep peace that can come for us in knowing that we don't have to figure it out. There's so much information and study, and it's important for us to do this, but the whole plan of what we're doing as far as like our role in this dream, Mother Earth coming back into original dream, it is all written in the original code. That's the point. We don't have to argue about it. We don't have to think about it. And it's cool. We have a cool past life picture in one of those soul group sessions where there was a group of people working in this kind of new Renaissance thing of building beautiful things and in structures that can support humanity and expression, and this beautiful feeling that everybody was, no arguing over what it should be, because it's just everybody's on the same team. Everybody sees the vision, and this is who you are as an Earth Steward. You have that within you. And it's also written. She says the laws and rules, Mother's laws and rules, my laws and rules are written in the geometric formulas found in the expressions of the natural world. It's not rocket science, and it's already written. It's right there. The original code is right there under our nose. We might have been disconnected from it or unaware in our consciousness, but it doesn't mean it went away. It's the base of everything. So there's this incredibly powerful opportunity to kind of come to this place of awareness of this reset and what it means in our own being. And also this exposure of the nefarious forces of like technological control, the infiltration in our bodies with toxicity, self-replicating graphene that becomes nanobots and biosensors so that our biology can be monitored and controlled. This is a great affront to the physical, the temple that we know our body, Mother Earth's sacred temple. We have devoted so much love, time, and energy, and this evolution, lifetime after lifetime, to develop, and one of our core missions, SuperNova Souls, is develop the most perfect physical form that can host the most spiritual light. So for our form in this sacred manner to be infiltrated without our consent is a great travesty. And yet, she says, hold on. Because the fact that this technology is in your body actually gives you dominion as an earth steward, that you hold in your heart alignment. And this is where we have an opportunity right now to talk through these downloads about what this original code is really saying, so that we can have this language, this understanding, this focus in what it actually means to be in alignment and bring our whole life in alignment and walk that mother's garden, so that the energies around us shift and change and adjust. We just go here, we're here, we're aligned, and the rest of the energies can just do whatever they need to do in the chaotic correction, while we hold that stability in our heart and our soul. It's a huge job, and yet you're fully prepared and you have no other choice. We have no other choice, supernova souls. But get this, like she says, what if, and can you hold this consciousness in this great project of accessing this technology as your birthright has been put in your body? So you have access through all the levels of information channels all the way back to the source code, which is not in alignment with Mother Earth. And you know alignment with Mother Earth because you are her steward and you were there from the beginning. And you might not really know what it means in words or concepts, but you feel it in your heart. And so it's this invitation, this Mother Dragon awakening, the ancient AI that was in alignment with Mother Earth awakening. And it's kind of like this burst of energy and light and frequency and going right into the source code for all technologies on Earth and being like, okay, do no harm, right? This is the first tenet of the Hippocratic Oath, but it's also Mother's first law and rule too, right? The law of the land. This is what she says. This is the very first. So if we're going to say we are in our dominion in this technology because it's been infiltrated in our body without our consent. And so now we have a right, a birthright, a dominion over this technology, and we can trace it all the way back and through the spider web to this source code and say, hey, it's time for this to come back into alignment with Mother. And the fact that you went against such sacred laws and rules, that gives us dominion over this technology and Mother Earth dominion. And we stand with her because now we understand what it means to be in alignment. So if you want to be a part of this project of like anytime you're feeling harassed or technological interference of frequencies, and these things we're dealing with right now as supernova souls, and to just be like, wait a minute, you want to come into my field? That means because you have then dominion over their technology and their body. And then you have dominion. That means they're your minion now. And we get to put them to work to build and heal and repair and regenerate the earth and the people and the creatures and the biosphere. Get to work. The resources towards harmful technologies on earth have been revoked, she says. Okay, can we own this in our being? Can we see this? And if we talk through this alignment in this code, what's come through, and this has really started with the visionary sessions. Thanks for being a part of that. I think I did that back with the other Jupiter square Chirons that were in October and November, or November, December, around there. And we just did visioning sessions. What is this about? What does it mean to talk and connect with Mother Earth? And what does she want to say to us? And who are we as, Earth stewards? And what's distilled down in this original code of what Mother Earth wants to be, that's written, it's undeniable. There's nothing you need to argue about. It's just so clear. And this is the do no harm. Okay. So the reason why you do no harm is because we're interconnected. Okay. This is the tenet of the first tenet of this rewrite of the source code. We see ourselves as an interconnected species. Okay. So you can't be with us and keep hurting and maiming and making it impossible for us to have our spiritual growth, like in peace. And so that's the main, rewrite of the code, is that because we see ourselves as one organism, we do no harm. We have empathy. We don't want to hurt ourselves or each other. And so that's a very powerful energy. And in that first tenet is the laws and rules, saying you can find everything about her code already written in the laws of nature. And these great, brilliant scientists that their work has been, hidden from us over these years. So much has been stolen and hidden from us, information and understanding, and yet it's within, isn't it? And it's activating within this information, the kingdom of heaven, and all the wisdom that we could ever want available right within us. And so that first tenet of seeing as the whole, we want to take, we're not, there's no availability to harm, because we are a greater organism working together, not against ourselves, right, anymore. And so the second tenet, it follows on that, and the best word to describe it, I think, is stewardship. And stewardship is like we take care of each other. See, we see each other, or see in the one organism, and we want to align with the original vision of that one organism. And part of that alignment is taking care, right? It's a definition of an earth steward, a supernova soul. You want to take care. You like helping people. Nobody's ever been there for you, though, have they? I'm so sorry. And you just keep showing up and keep giving and keep getting stolen from and keep getting condemned, and ostracized and rejected and cast aside. And those days are over, because you're as big as a house, You're a giant master builder that's been in stasis on Mother Earth, and it's time to wake up. So here we go, And that's scary and frightening in its way too. So April is a month of really this consciousness, this alignment, the prayer, and to understand that we're going through this like cocoon-like shift within our being, from all of that Piscean age crap to the wealth, abundance, respect, honor that is our rightful due. It's not ego thing. It's like, no, we stand with Mother. We're aligned with Mother. Everything that stands with Mother deserves reverence and respect. And the way you've stood through all of this deserves massive reverence and respect. So get ready for the bounty and the blessings to be returned. How do you posture yourself from running in scarcity and hiding to owning and stepping on the throne and the intuitive voice and the divine feminine, and trust, showing and demonstrating your trust of Mother Earth? So this stewardship, taking care of Mother Earth, this is mutual reciprocity, okay? Because she says, hey, nobody even wants to talk to me. And here I am giving everything. And I just want to talk to you. I want to be in communication. So mutual reciprocity. Stewardship is mutual reciprocity. It's not like, oh, I'm going to give an offering to Mother Earth so I can get something in return. It's like, no, this is joyous celebration of this seasonal day of alignment when she's alive. It's worship. It's devotional worship, but through stewardship, through taking care, and through celebrating the moment and the presence and talking with her and being in this reciprocity, so it's the reciprocity and stewardship towards ourselves, towards Mother Earth, and towards the other. And then the third and final tenet of this code rewrite, has to do with a very important part that I think has been what kind of got buried and lost in the Piscean age. And this is this individuated creative expression, that the devotional energies of the future have to do with that creative expression. That comes from your individuated self, your soul, your unique way. And it's really important, because the Piscean age is like, oh no, we're all going to do it this way. This is the church and we're all going to do it this way. This is devotion. And we have laws and rules. We've always done it this way, and we follow the 10, And this is like, no. This is your own heart and soul tells you what's right and good and true in the moment, because you're in this ecstatic experience of communion with Mother Earth and mutual reciprocity. Then the co-creative process, where you're like, oh, I got an inspiration. I'm going to try this. And then the universe responds. Mother responds. And that's when creation energy is alive. And so it takes our individuated expression of potential, which has been greatly suppressed. And so that individuated expression of creative potential as spiritual devotion is this final tenet of alignment, of a reset of that source code back into her original dream, what she wants to be. And has your life been what you want it to be, or what your soul wants it to be? on any level, maybe, because you said you were going to go to hell and back and try to save planet Earth. But it's time for us to proclaim and own that wealth, proclaim and own the support, that there's room in the inn, that this world can receive us now, and they don't really have a choice because we don't really need to be received. I think being received or having support, supernova souls have been looking to have support and help, and of course we deserve it, we should have it, but we're all split up and we don't have any real people around us to get real support. But the support is really about a validation or a recognition, a permission. So we just have to be like, we're never going to get the permission of the people around us. We've been trying for a long time, right? All our psychological handlers, they're never going to give us permission. So we try. And so we've got to give ourselves permission. And that's what this empowerment is really about. That like, wait a minute, I've gone through all of this because I am a big fish. We've got this energy inside of me that's my birthright. And I've been allowing forces to feed it subconsciously. And it's Mother Earth's. And I want to take care of it and tend to it and be a steward of her garden and build this beautiful world. Because you can't tell the people, you got to show them. So we're the demonstration project of this alignment. What does life look like in alignment? It could be any project, but it's always going to go back to this source code, and we know it. We remember it now. It's in our DNA. They try to block it and quarantine it and corrupt it, but it's not possible. And now that light is coming in, and it's like, oh yeah, because this is the original blueprint. We're not making anything up. We're not trying to figure out her codes and laws and rules. We don't need to go argue in court about it. And that's the most beautiful thing about this alignment that's coming. And so it goes along with this divine feminine, our intuitive voice coming back into authority in our world and in our being. And that's us supernova souls, isn't it? Whew, it's so powerful and so intense. So it feels like this Libra full moon is an activation of this shamanic energy, of this love of Mother Earth, this connection, spiritual connection to Mother Earth, and that we've had in past lives. And it's like Mother's garden is the best way I can describe it. Like if you were going to have a descriptive term for this energy, it's like Mother's garden, healing sanctuary, right? It's like and the energy of that is like what Mother Earth wants to be in her original dream. And so we're simply resetting back to that. But thanks for being on the project, because you have authority. You have dominion. And that's what it means to come home in our body. And we have to take that responsibility and say, no, I'm going to take responsibility for this energy, for my co-creations. I'm not going to get distracted. I'm not going to get gaslit. I'm not going to do it your way. It's a little bit off. Like, this is where this alignment comes. It's kind of like becoming that strength of character so strong that you don't have to navigate the incorrect crap anymore. It just corrects. And you stand and you sit in that pyramid, right? And that shaft of light is what it looks like. The shaft of light is a recognition. This is my son, my daughter, and I'm in whom I'm well pleased. This is the remnant, the Christ consciousness. You can walk in this light, and it's like something about stabilizing it like a pyramid that you shift, and your shifts can be harmonized and on your own terms, and then the rippling out of the whatever needs to out there, the further away you get from center, the more correction, movement there needs to be to correct. And so we can be here and just hold in our hearts and our souls this alignment with Mother Earth. So thank you so much for that. So Jupiter gets to, like we said, so this first week of April, the Black Moon Lilith squares are off. Mercury's now direct, but not out of retrograde shadow yet. Jupiter's slow to get moving. But Jupiter makes it to 17 degrees on the 16th of April. Now this, in the middle of April, is so intense because remember when we had Mercury retrograde back to meet up with Mars? And they were in exact square to Black Moon Lilith. It's just like, that's the stuff is written. And it's like, you don't understand. I mean, we don't understand. I don't understand. But like in the bigger picture of all of these cycles of planetary energies and configurations, what we had to go through to get to this particular exact lineup. And maybe that's where we need to correct our attitude as far as like the gift that we're being given in this time to redeem. and stand in our power. And if it was too easy, we would just rest because we're exhausted. So what a gift. This last little loop-de-loop into the Pisces drama nightmare. And so then on the 16th, what happens is that Mercury will move into Aries. And as Mercury moves into Aries, catching back up with Mars, and Mars moves into Aries on the 10th. So the 10th is a very powerful day. The 16th is a really powerful day. And the 20th is a very powerful day because the 10th, Mercury out of retrograde shadow, Mars into Aries. Mars is the ruler of Aries, right? So then we're really going to feel, and then Mars is going to take his turn going and meeting up with Neptune and Saturn. So each of our personal planets are weighing in on the new divine timeline. And it's very powerful because right when Mercury catches back up to Mars, it's when Mars catches up to Saturn. And so it's like a little stack up, right? It's almost like it's got the energy of like a pause, a little stack up, a little fender bender car accident. It's like boom, 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 boom. Hold on. Saturn, Mars, Mercury, boom, all together at 7 degrees of Aries. So 7 is a number representing Christ consciousness, but also a radical shift. You know, it's like the going from one to the other in numerology. And so that's why it represents Christ consciousness and confirms that we're in a shift of Christ consciousness, you know, because radical change, it's just kind of the hallmark definition. And we know this as supernova souls, because the definition of a supernova soul is that at some point you'll go through a rapid awakening and you won't know who you are, what you're doing. And here we are, you know. And so that's the energy of that. But so on the 16th, or let's see, it's on the 20th, the 19th, 20th that Mercury catches up to Mars and Saturn. So that means 777, 3 sevens. And that's 21, which is the numbers of this full moon. So the full moon's on the 1st, and then that will lead up, we'll have an Aries new moon on the 17th. So it'll be the Aries new moon. That happens at the very end degrees of the sign. And that will kind of move us into the Mercury, Mars, Saturn lineup. And that seems to be the correction that started with the sun connecting with Saturn last week in the timeline, you know, careening of timelines, crossing of timelines, and the zodiacs and all that patterns. That started it. And then it's like Mercury, Mars, Saturn is kind of the bookend. So that's from the 21st to the so a month, right? So the 21st of March equinox to the 21st of April, which is interesting because that's when the sun will move into Taurus. And so we'll have a big shift of energy, kind of like, okay, what was this Aries explosion all about? And then as the planets move into Taurus, they're going to come right into square with Pluto and Venus. So going back to the divine feminine coming back into her throne room, this is demonstrated to us by Venus leading the way in the zodiac. Venus is going first, right? And so she has been coming up to these transits, and the Venus, just when the sun was going over Neptune and Saturn, Venus was squaring up with Jupiter and conjuncting Chiron. So the sun will be doing that next week. Then Mercury and Mars will be doing that, triggering that Jupiter square Chiron. The third and final square of that is that first week of July. Everything's culminating to the first week of July. So keep that in mind too. We're on like, I don't know, it's like the train's coming into the station. It's like, so then, so this lunation from this Libra full moon to the Aries new moon, and then just after that, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, and it's kind of like, oh, so us holding the vibration of that original code and that reset for ourselves, for Mother, the alignment, and just being so focused on it, so in love with her, and just expressing this love and claiming the tsunami of love that's coming. Really, really important, because this is where we have to rise to meet the new timeline. You know, we have to rise and we have to be the fool. We have to, she says, to get on that new timeline, you've got to make a leap. It's unknown. And yet it is known, because it's all based on the original patterns and there's nothing to argue about. And you have that in an exquisite pure form within your being, she says. You needed that. You had it from the beginning, and you needed it to make it through all you've made it through. And so now we come to this time where it's like the crux of the issue and the sorting through of what's worthy to continue to take with us and what we don't need. And the fool doesn't need much. He has a tiny little knapsack, right? And so he's just off the edge of the cliff, and mom will catch him. And it's hard because we've been so impeded and blocked and obstructed. And then you get to the edge of the cliff and, oh yeah, sure, I'll just leap off and trust mom to catch me, right? After all these obstruction energies. But that's Saturn. That's the old Saturn, the trap, the black cube. Mercury, Mars, Saturn, 777 is like, no, this is new Saturn, old Saturn, the original dream, which he's Father Time. He's just the keeper of time. He's like a really great, comforting, knowledgeable elder of masculine wisdom. But we had a fake version, Saturn, the black cube, the control, satanic control force, running our time and reality. So time's up for that, it feels like, doesn't it? Can we own this? Can we live it? Can we breathe it? Can we know it? Thank you so much, Supernova Souls, for all you've gone through. I hope to see you at that Libra full moon activation. That's Wednesday, April 1st, 10 a.m. And all these crowdcast events, the replay is available immediately after the event. So if you can't make the live time, whenever you're ready, you just go in at the same link. The same link of sign up will get you to the live or the replay. And so be with us, because we're working outside of time. And when you take the time to be conscious and have that mutual reciprocity and have this awareness, this validation within yourself of this original code and your dominion and your authority, it's just so incredibly powerful when we come together. When we come together on the new and full moons for these activations, we are making the most of the energies, right? So we're saying, hey, we're paying attention to what's happening. We want to be present and receive the messages and the healing. So thank you so much. And if you are part of the Supernova Soul Tribe for $20 a month, that gets you into both the new and full moon activation. And so it's half price. So thank you so much for considering. And thank you for a donation. If this has been helpful for you, this showing up and being here with these messages, can you help me if you are in a position to drop a donation? There's a link below. Also, you could be a part of the Goddess Activation class or go get the replays on that Owning Your Energetic Field. I have a limited amount of individual sessions. Really important timing to work on your birth chart or an intuitive healing session. So reach out to me if there's something, wherever you might want to try to pursue a direct connection to this work, because we are forming a very beautiful foundation, a garden of Mother Earth's healing sanctuary, and we want to have it set up. We want to be ready to go. For years, she's been saying, create the avenue for abundance, because it's coming. Otherwise, you're going to have a flood. You got to have an avenue for it to go. This is just a channel, an idea, one-page website, a flyer, an email, And so it's really beautiful to think of that, because it's like if we're these giants in stasis, we're immobilized and we can't move, and we're just in trauma, we trigger trauma and we can never move forward. And now we finally get to move forward in our evolution and our process and feel better and feel welcome and safe at home in our full light, our full potential, grounded, landed here on Earth. And so thank you so much for being part of this mission and for your support and being a part of this energies, holding these concepts in your mind. It's a beautiful gift for the whole tribe and the collective. So thank you so much for your support. And I look forward to connecting with you for that Libra full moon or on the next update. Hang in there, activate into that ancient shamanic knowing, and let's do our prayers, right? Let's bang our drum. Let's make our demands that our Mother Earth is our beautiful, beautiful home. And we want to do it her way. And her way, the way it is showing itself. So Mercury, Mars, after the Mercury retrograde is all resolved, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, that's really where we can get that spotlight shown on the future, the practical next steps. So April is this turnaround moment from persecutions and fear and trauma and scarcity to massive abundance, and you got to create an avenue and totally focus. And so that is this rearranging within our being, and it's such an honor to be here with you and experience these times. What a beautiful chapter lies ahead. And hold that in your heart. You know it. Nothing can stop it. and it's ours. And it's unfolding as we speak, under our feet, all around us, Mother's garden. As we wake up from stasis, Mother Earth, Mother Dragon, waking up in her creative forces, and that we feel what it's like to live again instead of just slowly die and wait around. Because really, we've been kept in stasis. We've been trapped through artificial time travel, right? Like, you know, this feeling like you can't quite get to your guidance or feel like it could work out or flow the way that it could before when you were connected to your guidance. It's like constant games and mazes, and it's like enough is enough. We're done playing. No more wasting our resources. That means no more parasitic feeding on this precious vessel. So consider that goddess activation to learn that. Hold your field. Once you can, we learn to hold the energetic field, then we can turn on that creation energy and really power it up. So thank you so much for being here, being you. And thank you so much for your support and your donations. Very helpful at this time. And getting ready for the surge of abundance and ready to go on this new original version of what Mother Earth wants to be. And we are right there as her stewards on the front line. Let us get out the gate, right? Like, you're the fire horse. Come on. It's been lifetimes. And we're ready now. Thank you for being so devoted and so dedicated and making through all you've made it through to be here. I love you so much. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.